This week's Parsha talks about the sale of Yosef down to Mitzrayim. And the Torah tells us that Yosef's brothers wanted to kill him. Let's get rid of this dreamer. And Reuven steps up, and Reuven saves Yosef, says, let's put him into a pit, and we'll leave him there, hoping that he's going to go ahead and save him. And the pasuk says in Perek Lamed Zayin, Pasuk Chav Tes, that after the brothers actually take him out of the pit and sell him down to Mitzrayim, Vayashav Reuven el Abor. Reuven comes back to the pit. V'nei ein Yosef babor. And Yosef's not there. Vayikras begadav. And he grips his clothing. Here he is, he wanted to save him, and now he's not there, he's missing. Rashi asks, all the brothers were there, they sold Yosef down to Mitzrayim. Where was Reuven? Where was Reuven till now? And Rashi says that Reuven asuk haya besako ubetaniso. Reuven was in sackcloth and fasting, al bilbul yitzui aviv. Reuven was in mourning. Reuven was doing Teshuvah, repenting for the transgression of something that happened a little earlier, last week's Parsha. After Rachel died, Yaakov took his bed, which normally was in Rachel's house, and put it into his maidservant Bilhah's house. And Reuven thought that, look, if Rachel's not here, it should go into my mother's house, Leah. So Reuven went and took the bed out of Bilhah's house and moved it over to his mother Leah's house. And Reuven now at this point was doing Teshuvah for the fact that he did something differently than what his father wanted. And that's why he wasn't around at that point. He was doing Teshuvah. This Teshuvah is so important that the Shibbolei Aleket is a commentary, part of the commentary on the Siddur at some point. He explains some of the brachos in the Shmon Esrei. He says that at this moment in history, when the Malachim, when the angels saw that Reuven went ahead and did Teshuvah for his previous act, they went ahead and in Shemaim said the bracha, Baruch atah Hashem, harotze b'teshuvah. The bracha that we say in Shmon Esrei, our fifth bracha in Shmon Esrei, harotze b'teshuvah. When they saw this teshuvah occurring, they went ahead and made this bracha. The problem is, Reuven wasn't the first person to do teshuvah. The Medrash speaks out in Bereshis, Chav Beis Yud Gimel, that Adam Arishon bumped into Cain. And Adam asked Cain, so what ended up with you? And Cain killed his brother, murdered his brother. He said, so what was the judgment on you at the end? And Cain said, I did Teshuvah, and I'm good now. So Adam said, wow, I didn't realize the power of Teshuvah. And Adam, who obviously ate from the Eitz Hadas, even though he wasn't allowed, he said, I'm going to do Teshuvah also. And immediately he said, Mizmor Shir L'Yom HaShabbos, the Perek of Tehillim, which we say every single Shabbos, was Adam Arishon's Teshuvah for what he did. So Cain and Adam both did Teshuvah. So this isn't the first time anyone did Teshuvah in history. So why over here did the Malachim jump up and go ahead and say, Baruch atah Hashem harotze b'teshuvah on Reuven's act? In addition, the Medrash actually says that Reuven was the first person to go ahead and do teshuvah. But it's not true. The Medrash says the exact opposite. That Cain and Adam already did it beforehand. So we see from here that there's something very unique about what Reuven did. And that is as follows. Cain and Adam, they did something wrong. On the books, wrong. Hashem said, don't eat. Adam ate. You're not allowed to murder. Cain murdered. And from that, in a response to their action, which was against what Hashem said, they went ahead and they did Teshuvah. It's a very beautiful thing, and we also try to integrate that in our lives as well. If we ever do anything wrong, we want to try to correct our wrongdoings. Reuven was something different. Reuven didn't necessarily do anything wrong. There was a kind of a machlokas, a disagreement between him and his father. Reuven thought what he was doing was correct. It wasn't coming from a taiva, a desire, or a bias. Reuven thought he was right. For kibbud aim, how to honor his mother Leah, he felt that if the bed is not by Rachel, Yaakov should move into Leah's house. So Reuven on his own, thinking that what he was doing was correct, went ahead and made this move. And in fact, when Yaakov rebukes Reuven later on in Parshas Vayeishev, he doesn't criticize the act of Reuven moving the beds. He just says, Pachas kamayim Reuven, you acted a little impatiently. You went a little too quickly. You should have thought it through a little more. The act might have been okay, but you jumped at it too quickly. It was the way that it was done. Reuven on his own initiated a teshuvah. He said, okay, I did something. I felt that it was correct. It wasn't against Hashem's commandment. But, I could have done it in a better way. I could have taken on a better form of my action. And that, the Medrash says, if you read the words carefully, no one initiated a teshuvah before Reuven. Everyone else responded to something that they did wrong. Reuven didn't necessarily do anything wrong. But he went ahead and he said, even though I didn't do something wrong, I still could have gone ahead and done something better. And that's actually the theme. We don't have time now, but if you look carefully at the bracha of Hashivenu, the bracha is not necessarily about I did something wrong and I need to fix it. We ask that we want teshuvah shlema. We want a complete teshuvah, meaning it's not just to come back to something that we were beforehand, but it's to take on a complete new, higher level of existence. Sometimes we're programmed to think that if we do something wrong, we just got to fix it. Say sorry. If we hurt someone's feelings, if we take something that that doesn't belong to us, okay, just give it back. We're always fixing. Tikkun. We have to go ahead and do something wrong. We have to go ahead and be metakin. We have to go ahead and fix it. But there's another whole aspect we learn here from Reuven, and that is even if we're doing well, we're good. Nothing wrong. Baruch Hashem. But you always could go ahead and do things better. You could always, even if you're learning, but you could learn with a pure mind, with better intentions. Even if you're doing chesed, you're literally involved in helping people. But what's motivating your chesed? Is it just the guilt that I feel guilty that this person is lacking something, so to fill my own personal private guilt, I go ahead and I give something, like the Chovas Alvava says, that it's very rare that people actually do a pure chesed, because a lot of times what's driving them is their guilt for the person. Okay, this person's is sick. I'm not going to help him. Okay, so they're really filling their own need not to feel guilty. How pure is our intention? How pure? We're davening. We show up on time. We show up early. But how pure is our tefillah? What are we thinking about when we're davening? How much do we really care about other people? On the outside, we're good. Our actions are good. But even when we're good, we want to be great. We want to take things to a whole new level. And that's what Reuven did. No one yelled at Reuven. No one went ahead and put on the books that Reuven did something wrong. In fact, the Gemara says anyone who says that Reuven chata, bad things, he didn't do a chait, he didn't sin. He was good, but he felt that he could have done it even better. He could have perfected his actions. And that's something we always have to think about. We don't have to sometimes get so depressed thinking about all bad things. Think about our good things. Think about the good things that we're doing on a day-to-day basis, and think about how we could go ahead and do them even better. And when we do that, we'll all be zocheh to hit the highest heights that we're all destined to hit, and how Kadosh Baruch Hu wants us to hit, and we have the potential to get there. We just have to activate that, think big, and try to grow even from the good that we are doing. Then we should have a Shavua Tov.